I'm Liz Rose, and everything I'm about to tell you comes from years of studying human behavior, attraction, and the hidden dynamics between men and women in their most intimate moments. Most men believe they know what excites a woman. They think that moving around a little in bed or repeating what they once saw in a video means they have it figured out. But the truth, and here's where it gets uncomfortable, is that most men have absolutely no idea how the female mind actually works when it comes to sex. And so, even when she smiles, even when she says, "Yeah, that was good," inside, she's unsatisfied. And the most brutal part? She knows it. She talks about it with her closest friends. She just never says it to your face. Only the men who have taken the time to truly understand the female body and the psychology behind pleasure ever figure out what really drives a woman wild. It's not about positioning her on top of you or lasting longer. It's about knowing exactly what her mind needs to surrender and what her body needs to reach a real orgasm. And most men never get there. Here is the raw truth I've observed through years of studying relationships and human behavior. A woman does not reach orgasm by accident. Her pleasure is not like a man's, something that ignites quickly with direct stimulation and a clear finish line. The female orgasm is far more complex. It is a blend of emotion, trust, surrender, and, above all, precise, strategic stimulation. If you don't understand that, you can spend hours in bed and still fail completely. Men without experience think it comes down to size or stamina. That's what the ones who don't know say. Real experience teaches something entirely different. A woman needs a mental connection first, then precise physical stimulation. When those two things come together, her body opens in a way it never does otherwise. When they don't, she fakes it. And you don't even realize it. Do you want the truth? Most women have faked an orgasm more than once in their lives. If you're sitting there thinking you've always brought every woman you've been with to climax, I'm sorry to tell you, some of them were performing for you. They did it to protect your ego, because it was easier to end things quickly, because they knew you'd never notice. That's the difference between an average man and a man with genuine experience. The experienced man reads every reaction, every gesture, every tiny movement of a woman's body. He knows when she's close, and he knows exactly what to do to take her the rest of the way. Here's where most men fail. We get too mechanical. We fixate on repetitive movement, back and forth, same angle, no awareness, no real listening. But what I've seen time and time again is this. It's never about quantity. It's always about quality. One well-placed movement at the right angle, with the right pressure, is more powerful than 20 minutes of empty friction. Now there's something else that few men understand. Positions matter enormously. Yes, psychology matters. Yes, foreplay matters. But if you don't understand how certain positions stimulate the right areas of her body, you will never bring her to the kind of orgasm that stays with her. Because the female orgasm depends heavily on how the G-spot, the clitoris, and the combination of both are being stimulated. Not every position makes that possible. That's why experienced men know which positions multiply a woman's pleasure, the ones that make her lose control within seconds. It's not luck, it's knowledge, and that knowledge turns you into the kind of lover a woman doesn't forget, the kind of man she can't compare to anyone else, the one she still thinks about even when she's moved on. In this piece, I'm going to walk you through 3 specific sexual positions, not the boring, predictable ones, not the ones she's expecting. These are positions designed to bring her to climax quickly and intensely, because they activate her most sensitive zones while simultaneously placing her in a mental state of complete surrender. When you master these, you stop being ordinary in her intimate life. You become the man she doesn't forget, the one she seeks out again, the one she whispers about with her closest friends because she knows, with you, it was never normal. It was explosive. 1. The position no man uses, but every woman craves. 2. The secret angle that activates her G-spot instantly. 3. The posture that makes her addicted to you, and she'll never admit it. 1. The position no man uses, but every woman craves. Here's a truth most people won't say out loud. The majority of men believe that missionary or doggy style is enough. They're familiar, they're comfortable, they're what everyone knows, but they're also exactly what every woman expects. And that's the problem. A woman is not turned on by the predictable. She's turned on by the unexpected. If you repeat the same thing every other man has done, you're just another man in her mind. Nothing special. What I've observed in studying attraction and intimacy is that the female mind needs surprise and novelty because her arousal doesn't only live in her body, it lives in her head. If you guide her into a position she's never been in with another man, you've already won half the battle. In that moment, a thought moves through her. This man knows something the others don't. And believe me, that thought ignites her more than any pretty words could. The position almost no one talks about, but that can make her completely lose control, is a variation of doggy style, but elevated to another level entirely. She lies face down, pelvis slightly raised by a pillow or cushion beneath her hips. The reason this is so powerful is that it changes the angle of penetration completely. You're no longer entering straight back as in standard doggy style. Instead, you're accessing a lower angle that strikes the G-spot directly with every movement. When the G-spot is stimulated consistently, she doesn't just feel pleasure. She feels an internal pressure that builds and builds, and it carries her toward an orgasm that is more intense, more deep, and very often multiple. Most men skip this position because they assume it's the same as what they already do. But there's the mistake. The simple act of placing a pillow under her hips changes everything. What looked ordinary becomes an experience that makes her moan differently. More visceral, more uncontrolled. What separates an experienced man from a beginner here is how he manages this position. The beginner moves fast, without control, focused only on his own finish. The experienced man understands that the key here is measured intensity. Start slow. Use deep, controlled movements. Listen to her breathing. Feel how her hips respond. Adjust your rhythm to what her body is telling you. And there's something else that makes this position unlike any other. She won't ask for it because she doesn't know how powerful it is. Many women have never experienced it because men simply don't suggest it. When you guide her into it, you're not just giving her physical pleasure. You're opening the door to a kind of sexual experience she never imagined was possible. That places you in a different category entirely. One final detail that almost no one understands about this position. When she's face down with her pelvis elevated, her clitoris becomes more accessible from behind. If you use your hand to stimulate it gently while you move, what you create is an explosive combination. Direct G-spot penetration plus clitoral stimulation at the same time. For most women, that's not just pleasure. That's the formula for a guaranteed orgasm. Think about it. While every other man settled for ordinary doggy style, you were the one who changed the angle. You understood the logic behind her body. You gave her an orgasm she didn't know she was capable of having. Do you think she'll forget that? No. That gets written into her memory. And the next time she thinks about sex, she'll think about you. This position requires nothing strange or complicated. It's simple. It's natural. But it's the quiet secret of men who actually know what they're doing. While others keep believing that sex is about stamina or size, you're demonstrating that real power lives in technique, in knowledge, and in the willingness to do what other men won't bother with. The most powerful position isn't the most complicated one. It's the one most men never use. And when you master it, you stop being just another lover. You become the unforgettable one. 2. The secret angle that activates her G-spot instantly. Here's something I've seen consistently in my years of studying intimate relationships. Most men never reach a woman's G-spot, not because they don't try, because they don't know how. They think it's about speed, thrusting fast, like something they saw on a screen, and they wait for her to explode. But the G-spot is delicate, precise. It needs a specific angle to truly wake up. The irony is that the G-spot is real. Many women have felt it stimulated powerfully, but only with a rare few men. For everyone else, sex felt fine. Not incredible, just fine. And here's what I know from observing human behavior over many years. If a woman has ever been with a man who genuinely knew how to find that spot, she never sees anyone else the same way afterward. The secret angle isn't straight on, like in typical missionary. It's not from behind, like in standard doggy style. The angle that truly activates the G-spot is curved and upward. This means penetration must happen in a way that consistently brushes the front wall of the vagina, where the G-spot lives. And here's how you create that angle. Her on top, but leaning forward. Not in the typical position where she sits upright on you. Instead, she tilts her torso toward your chest, almost lying against you, while you control the angle from underneath. That slight forward lean changes the entire penetration. It's no longer vertical, it becomes diagonal. And that shift means direct, consistent pressure, right where the G-spot is. What happens next is what separates a man with real experience from everyone else. In this position, she not only controls the rhythm, every movement stimulates the G-spot with more force. If you place your hands on her lower back and gently guide her, the sensation compounds. She doesn't understand why it feels different from anything else, but you do. It's the angle. That's what changes everything. Now here's the part most men get wrong about this position. They avoid it because they think she's doing all the work. They're mistaken. The experienced man knows this is actually where he has the most control. You don't need forceful movement, just a slight lift of your hips, a subtle shift in direction, steady, sustained pressure. In that way, she moves from feeling ordinary stimulation to feeling something deep, localized, and so intense it can bring her to orgasm without any clitoral contact at all. But that's not the ceiling. If, while she's leaned against you, you add clitoral stimulation with your hand, or even through the natural pressure of your abdomen, the result is devastating. G-spot plus clitoris at the same time. For most women, that combination is the fastest, most powerful orgasm formula that exists. Picture it. She's moving above you, unable to control her own rhythm because the sensation is too overwhelming. You're calm, steady, confident. You know exactly what you're doing. And she never forgets it, because that kind of orgasm wasn't something she found with anyone else. In her mind, something is permanently recorded. With you, it was different. With you, she discovered something new. The mistake average men make is believing that duration is what matters most. From everything I've studied and observed, what matters most is entering at the right angle. You could last 45 minutes at an angle that doesn't touch anything meaningful, and she won't arrive. But find the right angle, and sometimes just a few minutes is enough to make her completely unravel. That's what creates the pull, not time. Intensity at the right point. Many men have convinced themselves the G-spot is a myth because they never found it. It's not a myth. It's just a treasure that's been badly explored. The experienced man doesn't leave that to chance. He knows which positions expose it most reliably. And this one, her leaned forward on top, is one of the most effective. So the next time you're in bed, don't repeat the script. Guide her into this position. Move with patience. Feel how her body responds. Because there's something important you need to understand. A woman's body speaks. When you're at the right angle, she cannot fake it. Her movements, her sounds, the involuntary contractions, they all give it away. And when you get there, you'll know. You'll have activated a pleasure no one else ever gave her. That's the secret of the angle. And it's not just sex, it's power, connection. The difference between being forgotten and being unforgettable. 3. The posture that makes her addicted to you. And she'll never tell you. Here's something I've understood from years of watching how women experience intimacy. A woman will never directly tell you which position drives her wild above all others. She won't say it because she doesn't want to seem too experienced. She doesn't want to be judged. She doesn't want you thinking she's done too much. And many times she doesn't even tell you because she can't fully explain it herself. All she knows is that when it happens, her body doesn't respond the same way it does with anyone else. She trembles differently. She sounds different. She feels like, with you, sex exists on a completely different level, which means your job, as a man, is not to wait for her to explain it to you. Your job is to learn how to read what her body is already communicating. Because a woman can silence her words. She cannot silence her reactions, her breathing, her gaze, the way she digs her nails in, or pulls you closer without meaning to. All of that is a silent language. and it reveals far more than any confession ever could. What I've found is that the posture that creates the deepest pull has nothing to do with what's comfortable. It has everything to do with emotional and physical intensity happening at the same time. For a woman, it's never purely physical. It's how that position makes her feel in her mind. If she feels vulnerable and desired simultaneously, if she feels you taking control but remaining connected to her, that's when her mind bonds with you. Not just her body. Most men reduce sex to a mechanical act: penetrate, move, finish. And that is the mistake that condemns them to being ordinary. The experienced man understands that what makes her return, again and again, is not the mechanical act itself. It's what you awaken in her while you're taking her to the edge. That particular blend of power, confidence, and absolute surrender that arises in a position where she has no distraction, no escape, no defense. Here's the part most men refuse to accept. You don't need to do anything extraordinary to be unforgettable in bed. What I've consistently observed is that the simple, when done with intention and knowledge, creates the most lasting impact. The posture that makes her addicted doesn't need to be theatrical or complicated. What matters is what it represents. That with you, she is taken somewhere she cannot reach alone. That with you, there is no routine, no boredom, no predictability, that every encounter contains a moment that breaks her open and puts her back together again. And here's what every man needs to understand at a deeper level. A woman can have sex with many people. She becomes addicted to very few. The difference is never how many times you do it. It's the emotional quality of what you give her. The posture that makes her addicted is not just physical pleasure. It's a memory carved into her subconscious. It's the moment she loses control and cannot understand why it only happens with you. That memory stays. And because it stays, even when she tries to move forward with her life, something inside her keeps comparing everyone who comes after you to that feeling. And in that comparison, they always fall short, every single one. Because none of them made her feel that way. None of them took her to the same mental and physical edge at the same moment with the same intensity. Think about this honestly. Why do some women go back to an ex, even after everything went wrong between them? It's not always love. Many times, it's an addiction to what they had sexually with that person. In that connection, they discovered a posture, an intensity, a state of being where they couldn't control themselves. And when someone awakens that in you, it doesn't leave. The uncomfortable reality is this: average sex bores. Ordinary sex is forgotten. But sex that blends control, surprise, and complete surrender becomes an addiction. And if you learn how to bring her to that state, it doesn't matter how many people pass through her life. She will always carry a mark of you somewhere inside her. That's the difference between the ordinary man and the one with true experience. The ordinary man is satisfied as long as she doesn't complain. The experienced man cares about leaving a mark so deep that she cannot forget him. One chases a quick release, the other leaves traces of pleasure in her mind. And those traces are what create the addiction. What she will never tell you is that this posture makes her feel too vulnerable, too exposed, and that is precisely why she loves it more than anything else. She'll never confess it, because admitting it would mean acknowledging that with you, she lost complete control. And that is something a woman rarely admits out loud. But in silence, in the way she comes back to you, in the way she thinks about you when you're not there, in the way she reaches for you without meaning to, she demonstrates it constantly. So remember this: the posture that makes her addicted to you will not come from her mouth. You'll discover it in her body, in her reactions, in the way she can't fully let go of what she experienced with you. That is the mark of a man who truly understands. That is the impression that never disappears. Now here's the part most people aren't willing to say directly. The majority of men will never give a woman a real orgasm, not because women don't want one, because men don't truly know how. They believe they've tried everything, but all they've done is repeat what they saw, what they heard, what a friend once told them. Very few men genuinely understand how the female mind operates in bed. And I'll say something harder still. Most women have faked it with you at least once, even if you don't want to believe it. Maybe she did it to protect your ego. Maybe because she wanted it to end. Maybe because she knew you'd never figure it out either way. That is the raw truth. If that stings, if it sits uncomfortably in your chest, it's because somewhere inside you, you already suspect it's true. That's why what I've shared with you today was never just about positions. It was about opening your eyes to the truth that separates ordinary men from the ones no woman ever truly forgets. Because while ordinary men stay satisfied with the belief that they performed adequately, the unforgettable ones obsess over leaving a mark so deep that no one else can follow it. And yes, that includes mastering these positions, not just mechanically, but with real intention. Because when you use them with purpose, you don't just give her pleasure, you create a craving. Here is the last uncomfortable truth I'll leave you with. If a woman doesn't come back to you after being with you, it wasn't about love or chemistry or fate. It was because in bed, you didn't give her anything another man couldn't have given her. That sentence is hard to sit with. But it's also the most motivating truth you can hear, because it means you have the power to choose what category you fall into. Will you be one more name on her list, or will you be the one she remembers in silence, the one she measures everyone else against, the one who awakened something in her she still doesn't fully understand? That is the mark of a man who has truly done the work, and now, so do you.